I got something a little bit different today. Anytime I've ever gotten an AK or any rifle, I'm always looking to upgrade the trigger. The trigger just makes the rifle just so much more better. It's like a whole different rifle. What I got today, which I will show it in a minute, I want to demonstrate this one first, is the CMC trigger. Now, I've always had ALG triggers in my AKs because that's like the best trigger you could get at the time. And ALGs were my go-to. Anytime I've had an AK, I'm always looking to upgrade it with the ALG. They're awesome. ALGs have always served their purpose to me, and every single time I pulled the trigger, it's always went bang. So we got an empty rifle here. Let's go ahead and check out the trigger pull. So obviously we got the trigger here, ALG, and you can see, you know, there's kind of no break to it. There's no break to it. It just kind of goes off, right? So now let's check out the reset. So let's go ahead and slowly let it forward. Okay, there's the reset. Coming back. Okay, there's a little bit of reset to that. Now let's check out the CMC. And double check, make sure we're empty real quick, which we are. So let's go ahead and check out the pull on this bad boy. So this one's 2.5 pounds. We're pulling, barely pulling, and it just goes off like butter. I'm gonna keep it. Now let's check out the reset. Almost no reset. Dude, that's nice. That's gonna make for some really fast shooting. You know, that reset, if it does not have a long reset, that means that you can just stay on the gun really fast and you can really put them down range. Not to mention, this thing feels really light. Never shot an AK with this light of a trigger. I'm really anxious to shoot it. So let's go ahead and get into that. One thing I wanted to mention is look how cool that looks in there. That blue down in there, that's just different. I like that whenever you can accessorize your AKs or just your guns in general. Like that's pretty damn cool. So let's go ahead and load up this bad boy real quick. And let's put some rounds down range. I'm gonna go ahead and grab it by the magazine. That is smooth. Man, this thing is nice. You can shoot really fast with this bad boy. Just off of my first mag, I know that I'm probably gonna want to keep this thing. So how does this work? CMC did send me this trigger. Actually, I posted a video of shooting my AK-104, and a guy named Justin Riggin, I appreciate you, Justin, he reached out to me and he said, hey man, you should check out our new trigger. He actually works at CMC. And so for about a month, you know, he was trying to get this trigger out to me, and it was basically him who got the trigger out to me. So I very much appreciate you. This thing is awesome, but they are not just giving me this trigger. I have to buy this trigger outright. I have 30 days to check it out. So I'm gonna give an honest review on it, what I think about it. And until in 30 days, whatever I decide to do, I'm gonna run the hell out of it. But from this first magazine, I'm probably gonna end up keeping this thing, honestly. This thing is just sick, dude. I love this thing. I'm gonna have to get used to it. It's gonna take some time to get used to it, but I could tell just from shooting it, if I really get into that rhythm, I'll be able to master this bad boy. I get a couple thousand through it, and I know I can get fast with it. Just ran 50 rounds through this trigger, and I'm loving it. No malfunctions, nothing like that. Man, this thing is fast, dude. I'm gonna have to rewatch some of my ALG videos because almost seems like I'm shooting faster. It's just me? Or, I mean, am I crazy? This thing's like smooth. You move your finger and the reset's just right there, dude. Let me explain that again for y'all. Trigger pull. Look, I'm barely pulling. Man, almost no effort. And then that reset is just like gnarly, dude. Slow as possible. That reset. And then that brake is right next to that reset. It's like crazy. Like you could follow up so quickly. It's like you only got to move your finger like that. That's unheard of with the AK, man. CMC, man. You guys, man, who made this trigger, y'all are some beasts, man. Y'all are some beasts. I think I forgot to mention the way this hammer face is. That way everybody could see. See the hammer face inside the gun? The profile of it is much lower to the receiver on the underside. It's not the big ass hump the bolt has to ride over. One thing I'm noticing whenever I'm firing this rifle is that this bolt, the bolt carrier, the underside of the bolt carrier doesn't ride as hard over that hammer. So it just makes it for a much more smoother ride. And one next thing I noticed is that whenever I rack this thing back, there's no getting caught right there. There's none of that. You usually get caught with like your standard AKM, but this trigger just lets it just ride. Now, what's important about that is I'm sure that's got to help with the overall wear and tear. And then on top of that, all that, this thing's straight. So when it's smacking the back of this bolt right here, I don't know if you guys can see that, smacking the back of this bolt, it's hitting it evenly. That's also helping with your wear and tear. Time will tell how this thing wears on my rifle, but from what I can see and what I understand, what I've tested with different AKs, is that this thing's gonna help out your AK. Not only that, it makes the trigger much more better. It looks better. It's different looking. When you pull this thing out, I guarantee you nobody has an AK with that trigger style. So what more could you ask for? And I will put the link in the description to this exact trigger. So I'm gonna go ahead and try again. I just want to get faster and faster with this thing. I'm loving this thing, dude. This thing's gnarly. All right. Installation, whenever I installed it, you might want to refer to an installation video. It's a little bit different. It's not your standard AK trigger, and it looks like it's a drop-in, but it is not a drop-in, guys. This thing, you got to take out the trigger itself, not the hammer. Take out the trigger, but it's fairly easy. Honestly, I had the hardest time with the shepherd's hook. All you gotta do is tighten down the little Allen keys to make sure the housing sets up against your receiver really well, and you should be good to go. After that, just do a few function checks. And I ran, I think, around 100 rounds through this with this trigger, and you know, it's just like all CMC things, it's a runner. It's a great upgrade. Like I've mentioned before, I think I'm running in circles once again. It makes the gun look a whole lot different. There's not many AKs you see with that style trigger on them. Not to mention, in the trigger guard here, I do not know if you guys can see that or not. Let me help out real quick. So yeah, you guys can see that. That's different. Just overall different. You pop the dust cover on here. You can see in there, the housing's in there. And like I mentioned, all you gotta do is just knock out. So whenever you first get the trigger, you get out your trigger, all you gotta do is take off the trigger right here, not the hammer, just the trigger comes off. All that, you watch the video on how to install this, it's really easy. Like I said, the hardest part for me was the shepherd's hook. And it's because I'm not used to the shepherd's hook. I use a retainer clip. With this trigger, it makes it really fun to shoot. These things do have a full lifetime warranty. If you guys have any questions about anything, I can refer you to my dude over there, Justin, who works at CMC. He's the one who hooked me up with the trigger. There's a few different types of AKs that it won't fit in. I'm sorry, one type of AK. I'll have to refer back to our text messages. I think the one for sure he said is the Stava rifles. So if you got a Yugo, it's probably not gonna fit. I don't know if you can do some fitment to get it to go in there. Also, I don't know if it's worth it to do all that. I don't know what that entails. I don't have a Yugo rifle. If you got a PSA type rifle, Sega type rifle, any AKM, even like a Wasser, Vishka, I think all them things, all them rifles will take this trigger, this trigger group. So I did tell me that if you're gonna get one of these triggers, not to be pulling the trigger and letting it hit the housing without the group inside the gun, like, because that could break the housing or the hammer. I'm not exactly sure, so make sure you guys don't do that. Otherwise, be safe. God bless y'all. I'm out. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys next weekend.